Welcome back to the Quarterly Call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional. So, AI.
AI.
It's the word on everyone's lips these days, and for good reason.
It really does feel like everything's changing.
But today, we're zeroing in on how it's impacting the world of networking through the lens of Arista Networks and their crazy Q3 2024 results.
I think crazy is the right word.
Yeah, right, because
Right.
they're blowing their own projections out of the water. Like initially they were predicting growth around what, 10% to 12%?
Yeah, something like that. Pretty typical.
Yeah, respectable, but not exactly headline news. But then AI becomes this huge thing, and suddenly, boom, they're revising their forecast to at least 18% growth.
At least, it's incredible how AI has become this massive catalyst.
It's wild. And what's really interesting to me is that Arista isn't just riding this wave, they're like actively shaping it.
Absolutely. They're not just reacting.
Right, with their whole Arista 2.0 strategy.
Exactly. It's like they saw this coming.
Yeah, putting the network at the center of this whole AI revolution.
The network is crucial.
It is. But before we get too deep into the strategy, let's talk numbers. Because, wow, Q3 was impressive.
Very impressive.
Revenue hit $1.811 billion. That's a 20% jump compared to last year.
Huge jump.
And their non-GAAP earnings per share, $2.40. They're killing it.
They really are, and it's not just one thing driving this success.
Right. It's not a fluke.
They're seeing strong margins in their enterprise business, their supply chain is well managed, international contributions are healthy. It's a really well-rounded performance.
Okay, so let's dig into this Arista 2.0 strategy a bit. They're essentially saying, look, all this amazing tech, data centers, huge campuses, those massive wide area networks, it all relies on the network. And then they take it a step further by saying, and guess what? We're the network. But they don't stop there.
No, they don't.
They're going all in on AI.
Full steam ahead.
Not just connecting to AI, but actually
Yeah.
baking it into the network itself.
Ex-
And they've got three core principles guiding this approach. Reliability first. These guys are obsessed with building products that are super resilient, practically immune to downtime.
Like they won't go down.
Right. Rock solid performance no matter what.
Yeah, it's the foundation.
Right. It has to be there. So principle number 2.
Automation. Zero-touch automation. Imagine a network that manages itself, adapts to changes, optimizes traffic,
Self-driving network.
basically, all thanks to intelligent software and systems.
Okay, that's pretty futuristic. What's the third piece of this puzzle?
AI built into the software.
Not just connecting AI systems, but using AI to analyze the network itself.
Right, to identify issues before they become problems.
So it's proactive.
Exactly, and it provides insights that help you stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not just a network for AI, it's a network powered by AI. That's smart.
It is very smart.
And this focus on AI is what makes their solution so unique. Because when you think about AI traffic, it's unlike anything we've seen before.
Yeah, it's really different.
Right. It's so diverse, unpredictable.
And every little delay matters.
Right. Every piece of data is critical.
Absolutely.
So how is Arista addressing this challenge?
So they've developed this portfolio called Etherlink with over 20 different switching products designed specifically for AI's crazy data needs. We're talking connecting, 100,000 graphics processing units, those GPUs, the brains behind AI,
Wow.
with the potential to scale to 1 million in the near future.
It's mind-blowing.
Huh.
And speaking of mind-blowing, their new platform, the 77F Order R4 DES, this thing just launched, right?
Mid-October.
And it sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It really does. It was developed with Meta.
Facebook, Instagram, Meta.
Right. And it's designed to look like a traditional two-tier network, but it actually functions as one giant, super efficient system.
No bottlenecks, super fast failover times. Built for speed, built for resilience.
Exactly what AI needs.
But let's be real, we can't talk about tech in 2024 without addressing the chip shortage.
It's the elephant in the room.
It's impacting everyone.
Everyone. But Arista, they're tackling it head on.
They're not just waiting around hoping it goes away.
No, they're proactive, increasing their purchase commitments for those key components.
They're making sure they're going to have what they need.
Right. And building up inventory, creating a buffer.
So they can respond to the demand?
Exactly. And reduce those lead times.
Okay, so they're basically saying, chip shortage, we're not letting that slow us down.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
Which is awesome. And this approach is reflected in their 2025 outlook.
Which is incredibly positive.
Lay it on us.
Well, they're projecting huge growth. Their total addressable market, their TAM, it's expected to hit $70 billion by 2028.
That's massive.
It's huge. And for 2025 specifically,
Give us the specifics.
they're aiming for $750 million in revenue for both campus networking and back-end AI networking.
So those were goals they set a while back.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Remember how we were talking about the front-end network needing to be even bigger to handle all that AI traffic?
Right, like the front door needs to be wide enough.
Exactly. So their front-end networking revenue is likely to be closer to $1.5 billion in 2025. It's almost like a double-down effect.
So doing some quick math here, we're looking at projected revenue of around $8 billion for 2025,
Yeah.
a growth rate of 15% to 17%, and they're aiming for double-digit growth every single year.
It's ambitious, but they seem to be on track.
It's impressive. But this kind of growth, it attracts competition. We mentioned NVIDIA, right?
Right. Both a partner and a competitor, especially in that back-end AI networking space.
Yeah, a little bit of a frenemy situation.
And definitely an interesting dynamic.
So how does Arista stack up against a giant like NVIDIA?
Well, they've built their reputation on delivering those reliable, high-performance solutions that are tailored to their customers' needs. They're not just selling boxes.
They're selling a complete solution.
Right. Optimized for AI.
Okay, so how do you see this competitive landscape evolving?
Right.
Can Arista maintain its position?
It's tough to say for sure, but they're in a good spot. Proven track record, they're investing heavily in innovation, and they have that deep understanding of the AI space.
And they have those relationships.
Yes. The collaborations with companies like Meta.
It's like having a sneak peek into the future of AI networking.
Exactly. And, you know, those partnerships are super valuable because AI is evolving so rapidly.
The pace is insane.
Yeah, collaboration is key.
Okay, so before we wrap up this first part of our look at Arista Networks, any last thoughts?
I just think it's incredibly exciting to see how AI is reshaping networking and how Arista is right there at the forefront, driving innovation. It's a fascinating time to be watching this space.
I agree. It's definitely not business as usual in the world of networking.
You know, one thing that really strikes me is how much the AI conversation has shifted. It's gone from this buzzy, abstract thing to a real force driving decisions.
It's tangible now.
It is.
Companies like Arista, they're not just talking about it anymore.
Right, they're building the infrastructure.
Yeah. They're doing it.
Yeah.
It's not just a side project. It's core to their business.
Totally agree. I think a lot of people, though, when they hear AI, they still think self-driving cars.
Those chatbots.
Yeah, those chatbots, that can be so frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they're not.
Right. But those are just the flashy applications.
They get the headlines.
Yeah, but behind the scenes, it's much bigger. AI is being used to analyze huge amounts of data, optimize processes, automate tasks. It's almost like
a superpower for your business.
Yeah, like a superpowered brain.
It's doing the thinking for you.
Right. But all of that requires a network that can handle it.
A network that can keep up.
It's like the central nervous system of business these days. It needs to be fast, reliable.
Always on.
Always on, can't go down. And traditional networks just weren't built for this.
No, they weren't.
That's why companies like Arista are leading the way.
Building the future.
Yeah, the next generation of networking tech. They get where things are going.
Okay, so let's talk competition. Because we mentioned NVIDIA,
right,
who are partners with Arista, but also competitors.
It is a bit of a tricky relationship.
Yeah, it's like they're both on the same team, but also kind of rivals.
Exactly. It's a balancing act. NVIDIA is such a big player in the AI space, especially with those GPUs.
The powerhouses.
Yeah, but they also have their own networking solutions.
Right. They've traditionally focused on InfiniBand.
Yes.
But they're moving into Ethernet, which puts them directly in competition with Arista.
Head to head. Kind of like those friends opening competing pizza places right across the street from each other.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So how does Arista stack up against someone like NVIDIA?
Well, Arista is known for those really reliable high-performance solutions.
Custom-tailored solutions.
Right. They're not just selling a generic box. They're selling a solution that's built for AI.
Okay, so what's your take on how this all shakes out? Can Arista stay ahead?
You know, it's hard to say for sure, but they have a lot going for them. They've got the experience. They're constantly innovating.
And the relationships.
Oh, yeah. Those relationships with the big players like Meta give them such an edge. It's like they have a glimpse into the future.
Okay, so let's talk about the other elephant in the room. We talked about it in the last segment, but it's worth revisiting.
The chip shortage.
The chip shortage.
It's affecting the whole tech industry.
Smartphones, cars, you name it.
And it's not going away anytime soon.
So how is Arista handling this? How are they making sure they can actually build the products they need?
They're taking a long-term approach. They've increased their commitments for components.
So they're securing their supply.
Exactly. Even if it costs a little more.
And they're building up their inventory.
Stockpiling, basically.
So that they're prepared for any disruptions.
It's like stocking up before a storm.
Yeah, you want to have what you need when everyone else is scrambling.
Exactly. It also shows suppliers that Arista's serious.
That they're in it for the long haul.
And that builds trust, which is so important these days.
Especially when things are scarce.
It's not just about the price, it's about the relationships.
Okay, so they're securing the components, building up inventory, and nurturing those relationships. That's smart.
They're doing everything they can. And it seems to be working. Their financial results have been strong.
It really shows how well they're managing things.
Even amidst all this chaos?
It reminds me that sometimes the most basic things, like a solid supply chain, can make all the difference.
It's the foundation.
Especially when you're dealing with something as disruptive as AI.
Right. It's pushing boundaries and driving demand.
So as we wrap up the second part, I think it's clear that Arista is a company that's firing on all cylinders.
They are.
They're navigating the AI wave, they're innovating, and they're managing the supply chain like pros.
They're a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And they're at the forefront of a technological revolution.
It's changing everything.
And we're going to be talking about those broader implications in our next segment. Buckle up. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about Arista's performance, their AI strategy, and how they're handling this whole chip shortage situation.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
It is. But now I want to zoom out a little bit, look at the bigger picture.
The macro view.
Exactly. AI is clearly a game changer, but how's it going to reshape the very foundations of networking?
It's a fundamental shift. It's pushing networks to their absolute limits. Think about the amount of data we're talking about.
It's mind-boggling.
And the speed.
Zero room for error.
Right. Traditional networks just weren't built for this. They were designed for a different time.
Moving data between computers, streaming a little video.
Exactly. But AI needs to crunch massive data sets, often in real time. Even the smallest delay can have huge consequences.
So it's not just bandwidth anymore.
Nope.
It's speed, responsiveness, reliability.
Rock-solid reliability.
AI is setting a whole new standard.
It is. And that's why companies like Arista are so focused on building this next generation of networking tech.
They're not just tweaking the old stuff, they're starting from scratch.
Right. They understand that AI needs a different approach entirely. It's about high-speed Ethernet, those advanced switching architectures, and software that's basically as smart as the AI it's supporting.
It's like we've jumped from driving a car to flying a spaceship.
We need a whole new set of controls.
Absolutely. And this shift towards software-defined networking, it's going to have a huge impact on network engineers and administrators.
For sure. It's a whole new skill set.
So what does that skill set look like? What should someone who's interested in this field be learning?
Well, first and foremost, you need those networking fundamentals.
The basics.
You got to know how networks work at their core. IP addressing, routing protocols, security, that's the foundation.
You can't build a house without a solid foundation.
Exactly. From there, dive into software-defined networking and automation, SDN controllers, orchestration tools, scripting languages like Python. These are the keys to managing those complex AI-powered networks of the future.
And what about data analysis? AI is all about data, right?
Absolutely. Network pros need to be able to understand and interpret all that information flowing through the network. That means tools like Splunk, Elasticsearch, Grafana, tools that can help you visualize and make sense of massive amounts of data.
So it's not just about the technical side, it's also about the analytical side.
You got to be able to see the big picture.
Yeah.
And honestly, the most important skill might be a willingness to learn and adapt.
Because this field is changing so fast.
It's evolving constantly, so you have to stay ahead of the curve, attend industry events, read blogs, experiment, never stop learning.
It's a lifelong journey.
It is. And don't forget about collaboration. Reach out to experts in other areas like data science, AI engineering. The more we work together, the better equipped we'll be to really harness the power of AI.
So AI isn't just some technology, it's a force that's changing the world.
And transforming networking.
It's creating challenges, but also amazing opportunities.
And it's up to us to seize those opportunities.
The future of networking is being written right now, and it's an incredible time to be a part of it. So to all our listeners out there, stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the possibilities. The age of AI networking is here.
It's here.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.